There is nothing wrong if you feel that you should have had more education, you would have been like Kamaraj, who did the most for education in Tamil Nadu, despite being himself completely illiterate. You see. So it is the feigning of great knowledge, like Karunanidhi calls himself Kalanger, and Sonia to Gandhi for some time at least till I exploded it, passed off. That she was educated in the University of Cambridge, when she wasn't there at all. So I'm saying that there's nothing to feel ashamed of not being educated. This question is to recognize the importance of education. So in fact, when the Chinese leaders, much to the surprise of everybody, accepted my plea that Kailash and Mansarovar route should be reopened, which the communists had closed. Tan Xiaoping, who had received me at that time, he agreed, and he said that I should be the first one to go. So I agreed and I went. It was very hard going in those days because the route is being opened after 35 years. But on the way to Mansarovar, I saw a big lake called Raman Haranga. So I asked the Tibetans, the guides who had come with me. They were, of course, Chinese employees, but anyway, I asked them, what is this, why is it called Raman Haranga? I said, we don't know the name Raman, what meaning it has, but we do know Haranga means in Tibetan, Sarovar. So Raman Sarovar. So I said, let me go and go near and see it. It is actually a bigger lake than Mansarovar. So he said, no, but don't drink that water. So I said, why? He said, then God knows what will happen to you. Because it's pure poisonous water. You can drink Mansarovar. He said, everything will be cured, your stomach ailments, everything will be cured. But don't touch this water. So an evil thought crossed my mind. I filled a bottle full of that Raman Haranga water. When I came back, I gave it to Karunanidhi. Please drink it. So I'm saying that all these myths, you see, and people don't understand the power of religion in our country. One day Karunanidhi got angry with me saying that that Swamy says in Supreme Court, Rama Setu. How is it Rama Setu? Did Ram build it? Does he have an engineering degree? Which engineering college he got a degree from? For it to be called Ram Setu? Next day he fell ill and he was admitted to Ramchandra Medical Hospital. So I wrote to him saying that at least he has got MBBS, engineering. So I'm saying that this kind of, our minds have been completely dominated. We are like lions in that circus cage. And we have to come out of that. And for coming out of that, if you want to get rid of stress, you have to go back to the basics. And you have to go to the basics, you have to understand the circumstances which was mentioned. There are many things which are said, which today people find abhorrent to even talk about. Take for instance this Varna, which the Westerners called as caste, because they're mixed up, because we make a distinction between Varna and Jati. Jati has nothing to do except where you are born, and it's usually used for marriages and social reasons. But Varna is a different matter, the fourfold division. It had nothing to do with birth. It has got degenerated and become birth-based. Today, children of Brahmins say we are Brahmins, and that's not automatic. When Bhrigu and Bhardwaja, two rishis, met together and decided that what's the best kind of society which minimizes stress. And he said that society is one where the competition is there along with cooperation. And that means there should be division. Everybody should not get everything. Nobody should get everything. So Bhrigu identified 4 sources of power which people desire. Knowledge, which is a very powerful thing. 2 is weapons. 3rd is wealth, and 4th is land. So these 4, he said that if somebody has all of it, then there will be stress in society. So let there be division. Those who have knowledge will not have weapons, will not have wealth, will not have land. Those who have weapons cannot make policy. They will have to go to the learned for the policy. We were not monarchy in that sense. Monarchy means that the king could dispense justice, the king could declare war. But in our scheme of things, the king did not have the power to declare war. He had to seek the permission and clearance of what was the people with knowledge, which is called Brahmins. So similarly, those who had wealth, called the Vaishya caste, they were permitted, they were encouraged. It was not infra dig to make money. But it did not guarantee you social status, the highest social status. The highest social status was given to the person who had knowledge, who was a knowledgeable person, who was an educated person, and he was a rishi. And finally, those who had land would produce for the needs of society. There was a provision for pushing out of society those who committed some social crime. But their children were not part of that. They could not become scheduled caste or untouchable or whatever. Valmiki, for example, was born of Dalit parents. But he became Maharishi. He wrote the Ramayana. Similarly, Vedavyasa was born of a fisherwoman. And he became Maharishi and he wrote the Mahabharata. So the Mahabharata and Ramayana were not written by Brahmins. And then Vishwamitra was Rishi of Rishis. And he was born in a Kshatriya family. His father and mother were Kshatriyas. Kalidasa was a hunter. Ravan was a Brahmin. A whole DK movement was founded on the grounds that we have to oppose the Brahmins and therefore Ravan is our god. Turned out the sweet revenge that Ravan, nowadays they don't speak about Ravan anymore. They only speak about disparaging Ram, but that won't last long either. Because in the end, Karunanidhi will have to say Ram Naam Satya Hai. So anyway, the fact of the matter is that this was the original system. It got degenerated when it became birth. There was no inferiority or superiority in the four castes, except social status was given to those who pursued learning. Now, this idea first struck me when I came as a student to Harvard to get my PhD. My classmate told me, how can you accept Mahatma Gandhi as your leader? So I asked him, why in America you will not accept him as a leader? He said, no, in America we would put him in jail for indecent exposure. Now that struck a thought in my mind. Why is it that in India we go after people who are not properly dressed? Whereas in America, if you're not properly dressed, the best dressed, coat, tie, etc., you will not be a leader, you will not even qualify to be a leader. So there is what the concept of sacrifice, giving up, is extolled. I don't think you can find any other society where a person who starts giving up is revered. Today, Ramdev symbolizes the same thing. Annazare symbolizes the same thing. People automatically respect somebody who has nothing of his own. You should not find it in any other society. So, therefore, this globalization which is leading to greed, which is leading to corruption. Corruption's root is greed. And greed comes if pursuit of material prosperity is a single-dimensional goal for society. And it will not produce happiness. In America, it does not produce happiness. So there has to be a balance. And the balance has to come through spiritual values. So consequently, the first principle I will tell you for stress management is, don't measure yourself entirely by materialistic prosperity.